Hi guys, welcome back to episode 2 of the podcast with myself, Vicky Misita, with the other podcast host, Zoe Leeming-Watts, and a very, very special guest today of Danni B, because we like the bee of the bumblebee. Hi girls, how are you?
I'm good, thanks to you.
Not too bad, you know me, I always just kind of like crack on. Zoe, what's going on with you, love?
Not much, enjoying lockdown training. Yeah, training outside in the rain.
As you do?
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it.
Cool beans. Right, so we are back again with another episode of basically looking into the nitty-gritty of natty bodybuilding for females and what obstacles we are going to come up against. So today we are speaking to Danni, and Danni has gone through a multitude of certain preps and off seasons and taking long times off and going back onto the stage. So Danni, do you just want to tell us a little bit about you, your past experience, and why we feel that you should be on the podcast for natty bodybuilding in women?
I started with a tag on Facebook. So it was 2014 when I first competed. I did my first competition in Yorkshire in figure and did a few competitions that year. I came back in 2016 figure again, and then had a long off season. So I prefer it. And then last year in 2019 came back in figure and then over to bodybuilding.
That's right. And you did figure and bodybuilding in the same year, didn't you?
Yeah, within 2 weeks.
Yeah, a bit of a difference there. So Zoe, that was your question, wasn't it? So you wanted to lead off with that question in terms of the transition from figure to bodybuilding. So I mean, I'll let you lead the question. Obviously it's yours, so off you go.
Yeah. So what changes did you have to make to your training to go from a figure to a women's physique athlete?
Okay. Right. Good question, because so my prep, in fact, all through my off season, I was thinking, am I figure? Am I bodybuilding? Everyone's like, a lot of people were saying, you're bodybuilder, you've got to do that, go for the next, go up into bodybuilding. I was like, no chance, I'm not big enough yet. And so in my head, no matter what class I would do, my aim is to get as big as possible. If I don't compete, I want to get as big as possible. So in terms of my training, it's always been lifting heavy, obviously not just like 1 rep maxes, intensity, always prioritizing the intensity. My cardio, I do low intensity cardio. I prefer that. And because it was such a small, 2 weeks in between, the reason I went for bodybuilding is because I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Why not? I've had this routine in my head. I've always wanted to do it. I might not compete again. Why not just do it? Have fun with it. If I place last, what for lost? I've done what I wanted to do. I've gone on stage as a bodybuilder. So I was prepping as a figure girl. So I did it. Obviously turned out, okay, I have got the size. And then it was just a case of when it was like, right, I'm going to go for the bodybuilding now. I've got a chance now. It was a case of still maintaining lifting as heavy as possible. My training didn't change. It wasn't like, right, I need to work on my shoulders. It was just I need to get leaner because I've not gone in for condition of a bodybuilder.
So with your diet then, did you see a dramatic change with that to sort of go from a figure to women's physique, because you have to come in super shredded or even more shredded? Did you see any change to your diet?
Yeah, this is where, looking back at the prep, I went wrong. I really, if I look, well, to be fair, I didn't know I was going to go into bodybuilding. It was like, shall I just do it? And then when I had that opportunity, it was like, right, that is what I'm doing now. That's my focus. So in terms of the diet, because it was like, right, I need to get lean, but I don't want to sacrifice muscle by just, completely cutting everything out, but I need to get lean. I did make drastic changes, which in order to get leaner for the finals in such a short period of time was fine. I didn't cut down too much, but I made drastic changes to make, quick changes. But then looking back, I would have maybe made the changes earlier on. But because it was like, right, I've got 2 weeks, I need to cut down now. It was like, right, make big changes and then later on deal with it. It's fine. Just for this 2 weeks, just push it out.
So what was it that you actually had to do in terms of like pushing it out? Because I know that we had some back and forth in terms of your prep from figure to bodybuilding and then from bodybuilding to the finals. So, and you prepped yourself, didn't you? You were coaching yourself throughout the whole ordeal. So it must have been a bit daunting for you in terms of thinking, shit, I need to get a hell of a lot leaner for the finals. So do you think that it was more of like a holy fuck moment that you needed to kind of cut everything out in order to get that condition?
Massively. And with prepping yourself as well, especially like my personality is like all or nothing. And it's like for 1 minute, I'm like, right, that's it, go extreme, cut everything. And then like on my way downstairs, I'm like, no, you can't, you'll lose your muscle. I'm like back and forth. So I didn't make huge changes. I like to eat a lot anyway in off season, as you can probably tell. So when I'm dieting, I'm on more food as it is. So when I made the drastic changes, I could still afford that. I wasn't going to lose a huge amount of muscle in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But like I say, looking back, I wish I would have maybe made the change earlier on and come in and focused on condition. Whereas my main focus was, right, I'm a figure girl. I want to look like a soft bodybuilder, and if that makes sense. And that it to me is a figure girl. But obviously perceptions of figure and everything are different.
So what happened in terms of this year with figure then? Because obviously you did figure with the BMBF and then you did women's bodybuilding with the UK DFBA. So what was, in terms of looking back over your last placings, you didn't place as high this last year in 2019 with figure. Was that just because, do you think you were too big, or in terms of like the bodybuilding aspect, was that your feedback?
I wish I was too big.
Too big for figure.
Yeah. It was kind of, I got all different feedback really. I came first at the qualifier with the MBF, but that was at the start of September. When was the finals? End of September.
End of September,
Yeah. Just don't know, just wasn't what they were looking for.
But with that feedback then, were you just actually more determined to go into the bodybuilding aspect with UK DFBA?
Massively. So what it was, you know, when you're getting feedback, and everyone gets this when they're going in for a show, you know, you can get feedback, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt, because, okay, they are the judges, that's what you're competing for, you're going to get judged by these people. And you might think, oh, I love my delts, they might be like, no, not big enough. So you got to take it with a pinch of salt anyway. But ultimately, the decision is theirs. So I got the feedback, and a lot of them were, you know, different. So I just pinch of salt. And in a way, it made me realise that figure, everyone's perception is different anyway. And what I think a good figure athlete is, and I feel like I brought a good package and I was happy with it, but it's not what they were looking for. And it made me think that you can see when you look at like the top 6 and they've got totally different shapes, and you see it in different federations, and you just think, you know what, I don't even know what you're looking for last year, this year. And I just think that bodybuilding is get as big as possible, get as lean as possible. It's like, right, that's what I'm doing. There's no argue back with that.
No, absolutely, that's it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you with the bodybuilding, because that's what I look at. I think, right, if I can get super shredded, and I'm not the biggest of competitors in the women's physique, when I do get shredded, I'm quite big in my off season, as in, like, if you look at me on an average female, but when I'm actually on stage, I'm probably one of the smallest. But because I bring in that condition, and going back to like when I was at the Worlds as well, again, I wasn't the biggest, but because I come super shredded, and that's what I had in my brain, then nobody can really touch you. So I totally agree with where you're coming.
Yeah, it's much easier. When you know you've got to get as lean as possible, as big as possible, you know, I just think, that just made me think, right, that's it, bodybuilding it is. Because like I say, I wanted to do it for a long time. You know, I listened to the same routine. I've always wanted to do it, and I thought, why not just give it a go? And then when I had that opportunity at the finals, I was buzzing. So why not?
Yeah, it was good. You did really well in your first year in terms of bodybuilding. It was absolutely wicked. It was phenomenal, to be fair. It was really, really nice to just kind of be backstage with you, watch you pump up for those final stages actually in the UK DFBA. And you were there saying to me, I'm not getting a pump, I'm not getting a pump. I'm like, dude, you're fucking pumped to high heaven. Just chill. Because you were just like rowing and rowing and rowing. I'm like, would you just stop? You're just going to flatten yourself out. But it's that common perception of self-perception, isn't it? Where you just think, I'm not big enough, I'm not shredded enough. Did you get that actually when you were starting to come in leaner and leaner and leaner? Did you ever get that kind of mentality thinking, holy shit, I'm not coming in, I'm not getting shredded?
Who, me or Zoe?
No, well, both of you, I suppose. I know the reason why I ask is because I know that I've done it myself, and in terms of like being an athletic competitor, which is just a mini version of a bodybuilder, so all the striations but no size, I remember having lines all over my chest, all over my delts, and actually saying to Scott, my husband, there's no way I'm going to do very well at this final because I'm not shredded enough. There's no way that I'm lean enough. And I looked like a spider's web had just kind of like thrown itself all over me. But in my mind, there was no way that I was lean enough. And I couldn't sit down for longer than 10 minutes because my ass was shredded.
It's a perception though, isn't it? When you're prepping, never feel big enough, never feel lean enough, legs aren't big enough. But yeah, no, I heard shredded, so I thought you were talking to Zoe.
Oh, right, okay. Well, no, I mean, you got some really nice condition though, didn't you? You came in, if you have a look at your BMBF finals in figure, and then just transition that over and compare you side by side to the condition that you pulled in for the finals at the UK DFBA, you pulled a lot off.
Yeah, it's I think there were 4 kilos difference.
Wow.
So yeah, I had to push, but I didn't like it. But it was only a short. If I had to do that, if I had to push for a long period of time, like a big catch up for 8 weeks, I would have been like, no, I'm not going to do it. But for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's like just get in, get it done. Again, didn't think I was going to get through to the Worlds, but I thought, right, you've got an opportunity. Go and do bodybuilding. You enjoy it. Just get on stage. Just head down, crack on. And I did. And then when I got through to the next stage, I was like, oh.
Thank God for that. Mental. What am I doing? Funny.
But yeah, no, definitely worth it.
Good. So what is it that you had to do with your diet then in those 2 weeks? Because obviously it was like a holy fuck moment, and it was like, right, let's do all of the things. So what was it that you actually had to do, and how did you coincide that drastic drop with your training stimulus?
So in terms of training, my training was fine, to be honest. It was getting to the point about 4 weeks out. You know when you lose that oomph, I don't know whether you girls do, but you lose that like drive and anger, and you just kind of like, you're doing it and you just, everything, you're doing a warm up and it feels heavy. I was already getting that anyway because it's getting to the end of prep. So when I had to push further and take the food down further, it did get hard. As in like really, you know, when you're thinking, I just want to stop now, my body has had enough. Mentally, I think I'd had enough, because it was like I've had to make a big push for something that I don't know whether I'm going to do well at. You're not just doing a show, you're putting everything into every single second to do that show. So in terms of my training was fine. In terms of diet, I basically just dropped a ton of carbs. I think it was like 40-50 grams of carbs in one, just gone, which if you think about, it doesn't sound like a huge amount. You think about a couple of bananas, you know, it's not actually a massive amount, but when you drop that, when you're already dieting, it is quite a lot. So, you know, that added up, and that's how I lost the 4 kilos. So was it worth it? Yeah, 100%. I'd do it again. But if I was to start that prep again, I would have gone from the start. I would have said, right, I'm bodybuilding, get condition, rather than a softer bodybuilder. Yeah,
for sure. So Zoe, you'd had the same kind of experience, didn't you, realistically, in terms of like having to cut things down? And that was quite a good thing that you could talk about, actually. So you talked about just taking 40-50 grams of carbs out straight away. Did you have to deplete? Did you run a depletion cycle and then like a big carb up cycle as well? Because I know that Zoe, you did that. We again had a chat about that yourself when you were depleting.
No, go on, Danny.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I did a harsher deplete. So obviously, I can't remember, I'd have to get my spreadsheet up. So let's just say I was on 250 grams of carbs at the finals of BMBF on a day-to-day basis. Let's just say I went down to 200. I'm just giving numbers here. I don't know exactly what it is. It's all on my sheet. Let's just say it was 200. Then I had to deplete even further for the bodybuilding because I knew that condition just push. I think actually I did add an extra day to my depletion because I just wanted less, and I thought, let's just see how it goes. Worst case scenario, you know, like I say, I didn't think I was going to do well anyway. So I'd normally do a 3-day deplete. I actually did a 4-day deplete and then the same load. So it wasn't a huge difference, but it was just a way to get the calories down overall.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting, isn't it? So we just go over your experience in terms of depletion and what you've found out.
That is pretty much the same. So for both seasons that I've done, when Rob's been coaching me, he's done like a 3-day depletion. So yeah, but on that 3rd day, I mean, calorie wise, it's something ridiculous, like 900 and some calories. It is literally ridiculous. But training twice a day for all those 3-day depletions, and then my carbs just go through the roof. So, you know, I'm eating over 1,000 calories in potato.
All the potatoes.
It's all the potatoes. I think I was on about 900 gram of potato, you know, for my, and that's just, you know, and then he even upped it even more. So, but yeah, it's quite hard because you've got to still go into the gym and work very, very on them low carbs for them 3 days. And my water's very, very high, which everybody knows that anyway. So water stays high throughout. And then it's on the day of the competition, it's just a normal day is what I would have on a normal week. But my carbs, I was on, because I did a long prep, so I was on pretty much like a year's prep. So macro wise, I was on about 390 to 450 on a high day, carb wise. So that's quite high because I was speaking to some of the guys and some of the guys are not even on that. But I think the more carbs Rob was giving me, the better the output of my training, the more I was dropping. So he just kept on upping it. So yes, I was quite lucky throughout my prep. So even though it's a long prep, my carbs stayed pretty high. Throughout.
Fair enough. I'm not one of those people that deplete. I depleted once in 2015. It just didn't work. Didn't work for me at all because there's some points where if you want to deplete, and I'm not saying it's obviously the same for everybody because sometimes you can have that super physiological response where you can soak up more carbs, but bottom line is you're still going to actually be depleted. So in order to eat the same amount of carbs back before getting overspilled, if you know what I mean. So, but for me, I depleted far too much, far too long. And it was only a 3-day depletion for myself as well when I was in 2015. But I just couldn't fill up no matter how much I had. I mean, you're talking about 900 gram of potato to fill up. If you have a look at that, that's probably in the region of about 600, 700 grams of carbs, roundabout, depending on what potato that you have. I used 1,900 grams of carbs. So nearly 2,000 grams of carbs, and I couldn't get full. And it was literally just pouring through me and just emptying like a bucket. And nearly 2,000 grams of carbs. And they were fast-acting sugars as well, you know? So fast-acting as well as obviously your slow release at the same time. And I just couldn't do it because you can get so depleted, so flat. You just cannot fill up. So I think it's a really good idea in order to test these kind of things as well, especially with like coaching athletes. I don't know if you do that as well, Danny. Do you kind of like test depletion weeks and practice peak weeks with your athletes?
Yeah, I think depending on what's at stake, like I say, the reason I changed my depletion for the UK DFBA finals was, number one, I'd already pushed my diet anyway. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to see how it goes. What's the worst that can happen? Didn't think I would place anyway. So I do think it is a good idea to test it, but you know yourself, every time is going to be different anyway.
Sure.
I think it's going to be, you know, for some people they do struggle filling up, and like you say, you tested that and it doesn't work for you.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot to fill me up anyway. I mean, I'm on over 500 gram of carb at the minute, and I'm still looking flat. Especially in the morning when I take my progress pictures and I'm like, shit, I could do with being fuller. But that was always my response. That was always my feedback. I think that you could be fuller, and it's like, I don't know how to get any fucking fuller. So if you've got advice in how to get me fuller, then I'm all ears. But you don't get that kind of kind of feedback. You just kind of get, you should have been fuller.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit of a difficult one. Okay, cool. So moving on, Zoe, you had another question in terms of like what you wanted to know about Danny's future plans.
Oh, right, yes. Yeah, so what's your future plans now? So you're in your off season, Danny, I take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your plans now then? Is it 2 years off, or you're just looking at competing next year, or what's the plan of action there?
To be honest, I've not put any plans on competing at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no like desire or rush to get back on stage at all. I've got like a huge list of things to do with like business, life, that I want to do before I even consider setting a date to compete. So that's not a great answer, is it? But yeah,
No.
just too much to do.
So how do you could you, in a nice way, you put on some decent size in your off season? So how do you cope mentally with that? Are you okay with that? Because I know a lot of girls, don't with putting on so much size.
Mm-hmm,
How do you cope with that mentally?
Well, to be honest, since being young, I've always been like a bigger girl. Like I've always, when I'm dieting and people say, "Oh, it must be easy for you," I'm thinking, "Are you kidding me? Like, no chance. I don't have to eat a lot to balloon up." Like, in my off season, I see it as part of the process. Like, I enjoy my training. So, in the last few weeks of dieting, when I'm feeling weaker and I'm not getting them PBs anymore, I'm questioning, what am I doing? Like, I love that grind, that intensity, and lifting a lot of weight. So if anything, that becomes the focus. My PBs in the gym. Okay, yeah, I've not got abs, but check my logbook. Look at this. Yeah, so and I do know I've got clients that struggle with it, and I try and like say, yeah, but look at your shoulders in comparison, and and you just look at the areas that are growing, and I know that when I do come to compete again, that it will pay off, because my training has been, and performance has been, the main focus, rather than I'm going to Jamaica, so I want to get abs for Jamaica. Like,
I love how you chose Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Yeah. Why Jamaica?
Because I might be going to Jamaica.
Wow, I want to go to Jamaica. I'm small enough, I can come.
Yeah, it depends what happens, obviously, with COVID-19, but we'll see.
That's it. How are you coping with the lockdown? Are you managing to train okay at home and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've got a squat rack. I had to get some floor protectors because I'm doing it outside.
Sure.
And rainy Manchester, eh?
Oh, I know.
What else have I got? Pull-up bar. I've got bands. I've got dumbbells. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm normally headphones on, introvert anyway, so yeah, I'm loving it.
That's it. Have you thought, or that's a good question for both of you, actually. I mean, I know, Zoe, you're in a different kind of bracket because you have to run the gym and do all the training for your work. But after the lockdown kind of gets released and everybody is free to get back into the gym again, do you reckon that gyms will be quieter?
I think at first, yeah. I think the bodybuilding gyms, everyone will come back and want to be together, and whereas I think the commercial kind of gyms, they're the ones where people are going to be a bit more, oh, I'll wait a couple of weeks, or it depends when it opens, really, because I think some people are still thinking about family members, you know, vulnerable people out of business.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. What about you, Zoe? What's your thoughts?
Well, it's same with the military. The military are still doing some sort of PT. If they are in work, it's very minimal people in work at the moment. If you are in, they're doing everything individual based outside. So once the gyms get open, I think military is the military. They'll all flood into the gym. It'll be like January straight after Christmas, and it'll sort of quieten down again. But I think with the government's guidelines, staying like 2 meters apart and stuff like that, I think that's just going to carry on for quite a while anyway. So a lot of the training for the military is just going to stick to outdoors, I think, and just making sure that they're kept apart rather than using our gyms and stuff. So yeah, I've already been asked to do training programs anyway before we start on, I think it's the 11th of May, so a few of us start filtering back into camp. Yeah, our gyms are not going to open. It's just going to be all outdoor based circuits and stuff.
Right.
A lot of what we call green PT with tyres and equipment and stuff like that. But again, it's wiping everything down, sanitising everything. So yeah.
It's a bit of a weird situation, isn't it? Because I mean, if you are going to go back into the gym and you've got to have this 2 meters apart kind of law, I always go in and train on my own. I used to obviously train with Jack Richardson, and we trained every day. But obviously, I can't do that if we've got to stay 2 meters apart. And then on the days where I trained on my own, where I was doing my second leg day, where he was doing a second push day, I just used to grab somebody and say, "Dude, will you just spot me on this squat?" You're not going to be able to grab anybody to come and spot you on a squat, are you?
No, that's it. I think I'll be honest with you. I think gyms are going to be. I know people don't like to probably hear this, but I think gyms are going to be shut until the end of the year.
Yep.
And yeah, they are going to be, and people are just going to have to adapt. But because I'm in the military, you see, when I'm deployed in places like stuff like Afghanistan, you know, you get over there and you have got limited equipment. So I'm doing nothing. I'm not doing anything different to what I'm used to doing. But somebody that is used to going into a gym, take them out of a gym, and it's like, well, what are we doing? Well, actually, if you've got a barbell and stuff like that, you probably, you know, you get more benefit out of doing stuff outside than what you would do inside anyway.
Yeah, easily. You just got to get creative and inventive, and your body is like the biggest weight that you can use. So just use the biggest weight. I've never been able to push anything as in like a single rep, as in an overhead press. I've never been able to press anything like over 50 kilos over my head ever. And I weigh 52 kilos, but I can handstand press up my own body weight. So just from doing that, I've overloaded my shoulders.
That's it.
You know, and people just kind of like forget that, and they just go, "Oh my God, I haven't got like a Viking press," and "Oh my God, I haven't got a leg press," and it's just like, okay, have you just tried doing like step ups with a deck drop? Fucking hell, you don't need a leg press after that. Jesus. But anyway, cool beans. All right, so we're just obviously coming up onto time here. Zoe, have you got a final question that you want to ask Danny?
Yeah, I'll finish off with the questions that I asked you before when we finished our the first podcast, should I say. So Danny, who would you inspire to be apart from yourself? Yeah. And
she's thrown that in there because I said myself. So she's thrown that out in there. Right, okay, so who would you aspire to be, and
who do you think's up and coming in the Natty scene?
Oh, hard one. Okay. Yikes. Right. I'm not giving good answers here. So I can't say myself. Okay, it's really hard because I don't compare myself to other people. Like I say, with the figure that I liked, I brought. The physique that I want, that's what it's hard. I don't really have like this is my idol. I guess you could say like the Tiffany Seaposs in America. I think her figure or physique is amazing. I think she's a figure girl. She could also be a physique girl. You know, she's got the condition, she's got a lovely shape. if I had to save someone, it'd be her if I couldn't save myself.
And who do you think's up and coming that you've maybe, I don't know if any of you got any of your clients or?
This is a really tricky one because there's so many people with a huge amount of potential, and I'm not exactly someone on Instagram seeing everyone who's competing, and I'm quite a head down, crack on kind of person. I wouldn't want to just say one name if I'm honest, because there's quite a few, and I couldn't say just one client. I like all my clients.
Yeah, Danny, I said exactly the same thing. I said exactly the same thing. It's just like, well, you can't actually choose anybody, and you can't inspire to be anybody apart from yourself. So yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, so many with such good potential, and I think that, you know, Instagram, as much as it can drive me crazy when you see the same stuff over and over again, and I'm not even going to get into it because I can rant for hours on that, but it also allows people to learn from a younger age and get access to this knowledge, some good, some bad. But then also, you know, I wish that I had access to all this knowledge at 14 when I first started at the gym. Sure. You know, it'd be totally different. So I just think that there's a lot of up and coming. Bad answer. It's
not, it's a good answer. I think it's an honest answer, and that's what we're all about here, isn't it? It's an honest answer. Okay, so in terms of you leaving on a high note then, Danny, what would be the one aspect or advice that you would give any up-and-coming people who are wanting to transition from a class to a class?
Bodybuilding. Build. Build. Performance. Yeah, definitely. Focus on your performance, and then the aesthetic side will come.
Wonderful. I really like that one. Amazing sauce. All right. Well, thank you once again for being a guest on the second episode of this wonderful female-led podcast. Once again, we shall be back in another kind of like 3 to 4 weeks, possibly with another guest on the go. Guys, I will put all of your links on the YouTube video underneath. So, Danny, you're still taking on some online clients at the moment, aren't you?
Yep, I am, especially with the shutting.
Oh yeah, I know, right? So we'll get all of those links on, guys. So if you have any questions whatsoever for myself, Zoe, or Danny, then please put them in the links and we will get back to them as soon as we possibly can. So once again, thank you very much, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.